access level has recently increased. Excellent. Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 65 of Behind the Scanner. Your hosts for tonight are Andrew Krug from Arlington, Virginia, and I'm Kelly Colton from Chicago. Our special guests tonight are Jim Lai from Canada and Johnny Lai from the United States. Joining us for the Weekly Truth is Jose Antonio Rey from Operation Essex. And for a look inside the scanner is Fev Games. Welcome to the show. Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, and click on Chat. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show, and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. You can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner. Or you can listen to audio-only episodes at soundcloud.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner. Good evening, agents. Welcome to episode 65 of Behind the Scanner. See, I say that live sometimes too. So by now, you all know the drill. Let's get the show started. And before we do, I just want to give a quick shout out to Behind the Scanner China. They had their first episode this week, so we're really excited that that new show has gotten kicked off the ground. So pretty excited about it. Now we're invading. Are we invading other YouTube channels worldwide? Is that the plan all along, Andrew?
We may try. Yeah, if you speak another language and you want to start something like this, let us know. We'll franchise. The fee is only like 50 level 8 XMPs, so it's pretty cheap to get in on the ground floor right now.
Only.
Yeah. The AXA, something. Yeah.
So, our first guest tonight is Jim Lai, and he's also known as Grim Jim from Toronto, Canada, a place that I would really love to visit. So yeah, Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us tonight. And you're muted.
He's good.
Hey.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Jim, thanks for joining us on Behind the Scanner tonight. Appreciate you coming on.
Glad to be here.
So I really enjoy it when I can identify with a guest and we have something kind of, I don't know, a little bit off the wall in common. You and I actually have, besides the love of maple syrup, obviously, because you're from Canada, we are interested in futurism and the impact of technologies on human society. So I think it was 4 years ago, maybe now, I wrote an article on a now defunct website about life caching in the cloud and the impacts it could have. What are some of your thoughts on the future of technology and its impacts on us?
Well, one thing that I think that's been under-focused about the impact of technology is the developing world. India, China, Africa, cell phones are ubiquitous. I saw a report recently from, I think it was Siemens or something like that, projecting that smartphones would be about 70% of the world would have access to smartphones by 2020 or something like that. I'd have to get the numbers out, but I posted about that a while ago on my G+.
So yeah, I want to kind of know more about your interest in the topic. I'm actually a huge fan of Ray Kurzweil. That's one of the fun facts. And apparently the World Future Conference has done some different things with his work and others. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, there's a World Future Society for Futurists, and I joined for a few years. They do their conference in different cities, and when it came to Toronto in 2012, I thought, it's on my doorstep, I have to go. So I shelled out and I went. And yeah, it was 2 days, and it was sort of like a lot of other conferences. There's talk sessions, and then there's a bunch of panels and so forth.
So there are no booths with crystal balls?
Not crystal balls, but they did have a showcase of people showing off products and newer technologies to people, and were pitching for funding. And I do have a few keepsakes from the booths they're showing off. Actually, yeah, I don't know if you can really see this. It's a chip that's from a DNA sequencer. They had a sample, and they're showing a unit that could fit, I don't know, easily in the back of a van, and that was, I forget what it was, but it was, I guess Ion was the company, and they were also announcing that they could sequence a human genome in 1 hour for only $1,000, and that was 3 years ago.
That is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Jim, real quick, if you could do us a favor, up at the top of your screen, you should see a little symbol that looks like a cell phone reception strength. Click on that. That's the adjust bandwidth usage, and drop it down 1 notch to the left from probably auto HD to whatever your next lower one is to the left. Your audio, although we can hear you, something definitely happened from the time that we were setting everything up till now. So,
Okay.
if that makes it any better now. But,
Okay. Let's give that a try.
See what happens.
Okay.
So, you were also cited in a book, if I read everything right. What was this about, and what was the topic of the book?
Yeah, it was by Howard Rheingold, originally published in 2002, Smart Mobs, and it was for an article which I had written a long time ago for a now defunct website about the future of infantry. So it's sort of funny now looking back at it, because I can see stuff. Let's see, where's that citing? The section that cited me here was about a U.S. military project called JEDI. And what they wanted to do is to have mobile, field test wearable computers with GPS and wireless communications. And it would have laser rangefinders, GPS location awareness, direct satellite telephone, and encrypted text messaging. And I look back at that, and I couldn't help thinking, what exactly are we doing with anomalies? We were communicating with so many agents on the ground like that. This is exactly what they're tinkering with, except for we're doing it for a game.
Yeah, very true, actually. How long ago was that?
2002. Howard Rheingold really was predicting things quite in advance. He was pushing the limits of what he could extrapolate back then. And yeah, Ingress was definitely within what he sketched out loosely.
I just want to pause for a second here. For everyone watching, you can actually interact with us live in our chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, and go on there and click on chat. So that was my little PSA. So one of the ways that you described yourself to us as a former Ingress decoder. What made you give that up, and was there ever an Ingress puzzle that just drove you completely crazy?
Yeah, it was when the code started coming out at 2 and 3 in the morning. My wife is not very impressed. She wasn't playing at the time. So it's like, yeah. So I talked with some other people who were interested in decoding, and they more than filled up the gap I left behind.
Has she joined you in trying to crack any of the puzzles?
She hasn't tried a hand at decrypting and stuff, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Have you been involved with the endgame puzzles at all?
I haven't looked too hard at the endgame puzzles, to be honest. I've been focusing strictly with Ingress.
Well, I think, if memory serves me, and I'm getting older, I think we may have met back on Kelly Colton's Ingress happy hours back in the day, and if not, I definitely remember you and know you from the Operation Essex community.
Yeah.
I won't ask you to steal Jose's thunder because he's going to come back and give us sort of a snapshot of what's going on. But what initially attracted you to the Operation Essex community and that sort of puzzle aspect of the game?
Well, I looked at the backstory first from the beginning with the Niantic project, and then I saw people posting about having found codes in the media, so it was the storyline, the backstory that got me into decoding. But I still kept up with the backstory, and so when Operation Essex was started, I joined in. I just loved asking questions of the story too, so in a way the story is a puzzle as well.
So we've had some pretty cool stories, you know, in the real life kind of come up here on the show. And I don't know if you're aware, but this past February, we had a Valentine's Day special with couples who met playing Ingress. And while you didn't meet your wife through Ingress, I guess you recruited her to play, and then she beat you to level 16. So what kind of game pitch did you give that inspired her so much to reach that milestone before you did?
She beat me to levels 14, 15, and 16.
Oh my gosh.
As for the pitch, I don't think it's a magic pitch. Just once she realized she could beat me, it's like she went and did it. What can I say?
Nice. You know what though? At least you can make level 6 portals, so that's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, instant level 6 portals, and if someone else goes 5 levels to them,
Exactly.
It's sort of cool.
Well, let's talk about anomalies a bit. You know, as Kelly mentioned, you are from Toronto. So what has it been like to host events there, and what is your most maybe memorable or impressionable experience that you've had with a recent anomaly? Maybe let's talk about Persepolis. What do you remember the most about Persepolis?
Yeah, poor Persepolis, where everyone talks about the synchronized rainfall with every measurement period. That was just ridiculous. Phones died, chargers died, cables died. A lot of agents didn't make it. It was but cyclists took spills. Fortunately, nothing too serious. That was quite the thing to be during that day. I was heading a squad on the ground. I was also engaged in online recruitment to try to get every agent I could because manpower is manpower, and there was a lot of field to cover. It was astonishing to have people come in from around the world to play. Man. And it was just intense leading up to the thing with the preparation and all, and then meeting everyone in the field, and then the rain being as much of an enemy as, if not more so than the other faction actually at times. But yeah, that was overall an incredible experience. I'd say we had well over 400 agents total in the field. I just eyeball from the shots afterward.
That is a good turnout.
Yeah. For a secondary. And we no doubt lost some people who could have come from New York because they went to Washington because it's right next door. But no, that was pretty good. That was well, we had some other. Well, the first one we had was in Minotaur, and that was really tiny by comparison. It's only a few dozen agents, and then this massive anomaly now. It's just seeing things happen, seeing literally dozens of squads go out into the field and just duke it out with each other over portals and trying to hold on to volatiles desperately while hoping that the rain doesn't penetrate through the ziplock and you're holding and throwing a bigger umbrella because it's just cauterized by the wind blowing so badly. But yeah, a lot of people still had fun despite that, and it was a close game, and it was a lot of fun. We felt good afterward.
Well, you mentioned Minotaur. That was quite some time back. And you know, since you've been around Ingress since literally the beginning, you know, what features would you like to see in future Ingress versions, and why?
I'd like to see something that could make key management a lot easier. Having a few hundred keys from casual play around is a deal. Being able to manipulate keys with regard to clusters and anomalies would have been awesome. I would like to see some other things which help with telling stories to other agents about your experiences. I think a scrapbook where you could, press and archive keys forever into that would be cool. Then, not in your inventory, not accessible anymore, but you could say, I went here, I went there. You could click and find details. That would be a cool thing to add that wouldn't hurt game balance or anything like that, but would, I think, help the experience, the social experience, I think.
I'm just thinking back to the Minotaur days, man. I haven't heard that mentioned in forever. I think that was after Cahokia Mounds, right? But
Yeah.
Not too much after that. Was that the first one after that? It's been so long. I don't
It's
remember.
been a long time.
So it's Cassandra.
I
But
thought
Minotaur was before Cassandra.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Minotaur was like the spring of 2013.
Yeah.
Spring,
Wow.
summer.
Yeah,
And it was the first anomaly. Oh, wait, no. It's like one of the first multi-city anomalies.
Yeah, well, they
Although
had those
Misty
one-offs.
Hannah had Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and it was in Austin, Texas. But
That's true. That's true. So, yeah, wow. Anyway, what yeah, well, we could talk about anomalies for forever, but what keeps you playing? I mean, after all these years, all this time, why are you still here?
I find my own reasons to play, I guess. It helps that I work very near Portal, so access is easy, so I can make it part of lunch and walking around. The badges, getting to level 8 was something, the badges were something. I suppose I make my own goals after point 2. It's like, well, what's sort of fun to do here? Or, well, I just hunker down and farm because I really want some piece of new gear that's come out to play with and so forth. Yeah, I just not sure why I haven't stopped. I just keep finding things to do in the game.
Well, you know what though? But that's kind of the point of the game. It's there's different ways to play it. So.
Yeah, I even contributed to a remix contest early on. With the new soundtrack. So.
Interesting.
Did a lot of things.
And since I'm sort of the designated public service announcement person, I do want to interject and say for everyone watching, you can submit your questions for our guest. If you're watching us via YouTube, you have to click the banner at the top of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." From there, just click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing your screen.
You're welcome.
So, back to your regularly scheduled question. So we mentioned that your wife hit level 16 first. Can you tell us where you were when you hit level 8 and level 16, and how did you react?
Level 8, I was in Queen's Park in Toronto, and there's a cluster of portals there. I was busily trying to create enough tetra fields to cross over into level 8, and I was about 2/3 done. Then a resistance player showed up and started blowing things up, and I was thinking, man, I gotta duck around and try to draw him one way and then duck back to try to finish the tetra fields I had set up in some other area to cross over. So I was too busy trying to do the tactical, battle thing to react too much to it. But that was cool, a cool way to get it. And then later that night, I was able to join in an opt and build level 8 portals around the city. So that was a cool way to spend it. With level 16, I wanted to get level 16 and contribute to First Saturday because level ups count. So I figured this is my last chance to contribute. And thanks a lot, Resistance, for bearing with me because I had to grind around 2 million AP in 6 days to get in position to cross over First Saturday. That was a lot of work. I really now appreciate people who play a lot harder than me.
It's, one of these days I'll get to level 16. So I admire you folks who have made it there already. But are you ready to jump into some viewer questions and see what people want to know?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So for those of you watching out there, again, you can use the Q&A app, or if you're have access to a web browser, which I assume that's how you're watching us, just go to behindthescanner.com, click on chat, and jump in the chat, ask a question, giving away codes if you submit a question in our chat room. So let's see. Mustafa said is watching from home and wants to know, what is your most fondest Ingress memory?
Fondest Ingress memory. There's so many to pick from because I've been playing so darn long. I could mention the time that it's a fun time. There was one time when my wife convinced me to go out and do canoe gress. There are a couple of portals on the Toronto Islands on the yacht club, which you normally don't have access to, but we rented a canoe and went there by water, and we managed to get within 40 meters of two portals, and we captured one each. That was quite amusing. Frogs being amphibious, so approached by water. That was fun.
Very cool, very cool. I've yet to do I guess I've kind of done the water thing, but not to that extent. So. All right, Edmund Lee would like to know, what do you say when someone asks you to explain Ingress?
Ooh, so many. Well, I guess I got to be able to get good at that. Ingress, I used to be able to say it was an app from Google, but now I say it's Niantic. It's a spin-off from Google where it's a augmented reality game where you play on a map that maps to the real world, and it's like capture the flag between two sides. That's probably how I put it in a nutshell for most people.
Fair enough. That's pretty good. All right. Let's see. So from our chat room, and this is why you actually want to be in our chat room, Shade from Trees asks, I think all of our guests this so far, will you take your shirt off? I'll let you say.
No, not today.
No. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? Actually, our own chat hostess wants to know, what is your drink of choice?
Oh, my drink of choice? Ooh.
It's from Daphne D.
Drink of choice. Actually, I like a lot of different drinks. Locally, when we have get-togethers, beer is the thing, but I usually have cider at those events, I think. Favorite? There's just too many to lock down on.
That's okay. You can just say, we'll go with cider. That's an acceptable answer.
Or Scotch. Yeah.
Scotch also works as well. So we're not promoting alcoholism or drinking, but we understand.
Responsibly, not driving well.
Everything's okay in moderation.
Yeah.
Except cyanide. All right, let's see. So Blades Edge NZ wants to know, this is an interesting one. With anomalies, scores, ... What weighting should a BAF, and that's a big ass field, not a big augmented field, have on a site score? So with anomalies, what weighting should a BAF have on a city score?
That's one that actually has to be tuned pretty carefully. You don't want to have it to be so large that it defeats all the efforts of hundreds of agents on the grounds and makes that pointless. But you don't want to totally devalue it. Something akin to maybe a really good effort like a link hub or something that might be a comparable number. It could easily be in the dozens, 50. It's enough to sway a very close game.
Yeah, it's definitely a touchy one.
Yeah.
You don't want to overpower them. You don't want to make them not worth anything.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. I looked back actually at an old Ingress report because they never gave us the proper local Minotaur scores between resistance and enlightened, and all I saw in the report was actually the deltas reported at each measurement. So I don't even know the absolute scores, but the span between that was only 16-point difference between the two factions that time. And in Persepolis, it was a 22 point difference or so. So when we go at it directly, it's a very close game in Toronto. So a 50-point field really would swing it. But it wouldn't devalue what we do on the ground, because if something spectacular goes off, like a link hub recently, then you could push and overcome a big ass field too. So.
Yeah, no, it's I think with Persepolis, my experience at least, especially being on the ground and participating in DC and having participated in other anomalies, Persepolis was pretty well tuned. I think it was pretty good. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Last question here is from Dr. Mink. What is the backstory to Jim's agent name, Grim Jim?
Huh. The backstory. Okay. Well, it's been a name I used in some online chats prior, and the origin of that was actually a comic book character, indirectly. It was Grim Jack. In one of his later incarnations, he was Jim Twilly, so Grim Jim. And it's like, well, yeah, why not?
There you go. Short and to the point. So I think that's
cool.
That's about it for all of your questions.
All right. Well, that means it's time for the BTS tradition. Every guest gets, at the end of their interview, 60 seconds to say whatever they want, talk about whatever they want, give shout-outs. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and take your 60 seconds.
Okay. We do have, well, there's a local con. Toronto Comic Con, I believe it was. No, Fan Expo 2013, 2015. And it's the first weekend in September, and there's an Ingress panel on Saturday, I think it's morning or early afternoon, something like that. I won't be on that, but we're also having an Ingress booth running through all the days of the con. I probably should be there for at least 1 or 2 sessions, but yeah, everyone who's attending the con, please visit. It'd be a good thing. Promote the game, try to get more of your friends involved, maybe. Be good for gameplay. What else? I suppose I should call out everyone who contributed to my crazy run, because I had to have so many agents donate gear to me to continually blast resistance areas to gain the AP fast enough for that. Resistance, of course, for building up the field so I could keep doing that. Everyone who helped with and participated in Persepolis on both sides, because without that, it wouldn't have been as awesome. Let's see, as for online communities, surly dinos and brainstormers, you know who you are. You're part of how the path, which I meandered in order to get to Ingress, so that was sort of cool. Yeah, thanks for everyone who's watching.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Jim. We really enjoyed having you on the show tonight, and hope you had a good time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Be safe driving home.
I am.
All right. All right. That joke went over a lot better in my head than it did. Anyway. So before we get to our second guest, it's time for the Weekly Truth. And this week we have our very own Jose Antonio Rey joining us from Lima, Peru. And he catches us up on the Ingress storyline. So everyone please welcome Operation Essex investigator Jose.
Well, hello everyone. This is actually me today. It's not Andrew playing me, so I'm really glad to be back. Yeah, I'm really glad to be back around and behind the scanner to tell you what's been going on the Niantic storyline. So, as you can see, these last couple of weeks have been focused on Ada. Since Ada was shut down here at Behind the Scanner, there's been a lot of events going around talking about if Ada is actually dead, if Ada is still with us, what's going to happen with Ada. We really don't know what the future of Ada is. What I've been thinking about in the last couple of days is that when Ada actually well, if we could say shut down here behind the scanner, she sent a message to us after that. And she was looking for deployment nodes in 3 different regions. So I personally don't think that Ada has been shut down, but instead has been split in several pieces. We're going to see what happens up next in Abaddon. We are not entirely sure again, but I'm not sure if I can provide a lot more of insight of what's going on, because it's really confusing to understand what Ada is going through, and if Ada is actually going to come back. We There's been some speculation about Abaddon and whether the Abaddon project, which is part of the Niantic project, or the Abaddon initiative, is actually something around Dark Exam. And you can read more about that on operationessex.org. But I personally cannot give you more insight of what's going on. To be honest, it's really confusing, and we don't even know what's going to happen with Ada. Ada has been offline for several weeks now. The copy of Ada you have in your scanner is safe though, so you can still go ahead and ingress. But with regards to our Ada, the Ada that is around the world, I don't think I can say the same. Let's just hope for the best, and let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I really feel that Abaddon is coming. The Abaddon Anomaly series is coming really, really close. So keep an eye on that. Apart from that, just make sure you try and see if you find any pieces of Ada around. If you find anything interesting, please report it to operationessex.org. We'll be more than happy to investigate and help you out to find what's going on with Ada. Now, I want to recall. I want to do a call again to all investigators around the world. There are still some breadcrumbs around different portals in this little planet. So if you find any media that is weird, that is not an Ingress report or Ingress obsessed, and you don't know how to interpret it, or you don't know what's going on with that media, please send it to Operation Essex. We are in fact looking for some media that Hank Johnson left before he recursioned. So there are still a couple pieces left in the portal network. If you help us uncover those ones, we'll be more than glad to share our findings. So please help us find those breadcrumbs, and I hope to see more breadcrumbs pop up the light soon. So again, if you have any questions, please follow operationessex.org. To keep up on the storyline, make sure to go to the Niantic Project Google Plus page. That's Niantic Project. Follow them. I'm sure VeritySeek is going to be posting more information about Ada each single day, and I hope more comes to light soon.
Thank you, Jose.
Thanks, Jose.
I know personally from re-listening to that whole Ada going offline segment over and over and over, at the end, I think it was her, said something about entering the Nazir substrate, and that kind of goes along with the checking for the different nodes and some other theories out there that she's sort of in that Nazir world. I don't know if world is the correct term, but universe, I don't know, reality, perhaps. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And also, the person that was giving Susanna Moyer information about Abaddon has gone missing suddenly. So, we will find out more things as they happen, I guess, on Bill. So,
always a mystery.
It is. Stay tuned. It's a cliffhanger. So, all right, let's see here. It is, let's move on to, oh yeah, that's right. It is that time for the code of the show. So
this is everyone's favorite time.
It is. That's what I've heard. And there it is.
Woo!
It's so, the one thing that's consistent is that this code will appear over my shoulder. Guests may mute themselves and not be able to talk. Another guest video might go out, or audio might crap out on them, or we all might get punted from the Hangout, but without fail, the codes always appear.
Yeah. Well, it's like they say, the code must go on.
Yes, the code must go on. I think, is that my Hangouts? Oh, you know what? I only muted them for an hour. Let me remute them. I know. Bad host. You're hearing them.
Bad host.
Yeah. All right. They're not gonna
It's okay. We'll forgive you.
So there we go. Codes. We'll leave them up there for just a couple more seconds as I fumble around to try to put the normal background back on. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave them up there while I introduce my next segment because I need to do something else. All right. So normally this is where we have inside the scanner the guys from Fev Games joining us. It's kind of where we talk about app changes, edits to the game mechanics, and describe new features that have been implemented in the app. The gentleman that was going to come on the show, Robert Walker, is stuck in traffic. So with that, I will be playing the part of Robert Walker. There we go. And wait, let me get the mouse lined up. Here we go. A little bit this way. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Right. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So we got the Ingress portal stats study that we did. Basically, we determined that there are forgotten submissions, is what Fev Games is calling it. It's estimated that about 6% of portal submissions are never processed and somehow drop through the cracks, is what they're estimating. The longest known wait time is 261 days. So if you have a submission that has been in queue for 300 days, you're pretty safe in assuming that it has been forgotten. The status of the Seer medal, they are saying that there may still be a few 2014 submissions that can still get processed. However, currently, it looks like the portal people are working on submissions from January. So barring an announcement from Niantic, the vast majority of people are stuck with whatever Seer medal they currently have. Fev Games also did an MUFG science experiment, and it states here that our first series of MUFG science experiments is complete. In this experiment, we asked people to fill a capsule with 90 level 8 items, then record how many items were in it every day until it was full. As you can see on their website, the numbers it took to fill the capsule were quite varied. The fastest was 6 days, the slowest was 15 days. On average, it generated about 1 item per day, which is in line with other experiments that people have done. However, we saw one capsule go as long as a whole week without any new items being generated. Fev Games also wants to remind everybody about the Ingress First Saturday. Registration ends August 30th, which is in 3 days, this Saturday. Don't miss out. So if your cell is planning on hosting a First Saturday and your local faction leaders haven't registered yet, they need to get on the ball and do that. Let's see. Last but not least, Fev Games has got their Ingress guide. Robert Walker is the curator of the Fev Games Ingress guide. He strives to be the most up-to-date manual on the scanner available, and they are working right now on a project that documents the history of Ingress anomalies, scanner improvements, and the lore, and they are very excited to share that as it develops. And as always, they welcome feedback. So, there you go. That is the news from Fev Games from Robert Walker's own lips.
Wow. Robert Walker.
Yeah.
Really, really great job there.
I like his beard, his mustache. I guess it's really a goatee. It's kind of
it's a goatee.
Yeah. You ever watch Conan O'Brien? Oh, the coach is still there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got the green screen. Now I got codes. What's going on? Cats and dogs are living together.
Awesome. Cool. All
right. I think.
Well, we have a real, actual live moving person for our next guest. Our next guest is Johnny Lai, and no, they're not brothers. That you guessed, not brothers. And according to Jim's online DNA profile, probably just very distant cousins at best. So please, everyone, welcome to Behind the Scanner, Agent Shark Gundam.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, welcome, Johnny. Appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
Did I sound all right?
You sound good. You sound good. You're not impersonating Edgar Allan Wright. That was kind of freaky. I think Jim might have been Edgar Allan Wright. You never know.
Shocking.
Well, despite the similarities, obviously, in your last name, because it's just uncommon for people in the United States to share last names, you're from San Francisco,
Yes.
not Canada. What's it like to play the game in Niantic's backyard?
Well, we have a luxury really early days of the game that we have more portal than many other cities. Okay, we do have a lot of Google employee early days. They play in the game. Also, some of the game developer also play in this city. We benefit from a lot of portal from John Hankey. He early submit a lot of portal himself, um, like Jacqueline Square in Oakland and Cubic Span in basically right outside the Google office. It's their submission. So also San Francisco, we do have about 6,000 portals, something like that. So basically, if you first time playing San Francisco, usually can get about 300-400 unique portal in just day one in the city. You could get it by using, we have really pretty good public transportation, or you can walk it, you can drive it, you can cable car. There's so many different ways to explore the cities.
Yeah, I guess with Niantic being based there, yeah, you guys got you probably had a lot more portals than most cities when it started.
And I did actually met the Portal Monkey team personally myself.
Don't call them Portal Monkeys.
I know, but
That's racist.
Yeah, but we call them Portal Monkey, but they are actually human. And I actually am able to meet her at Cubic Span at one of our NL1331 cross-faction meetup. And I did thank her for doing a job to approve us and kind of listen to our whining, bitching about, certain portals to accept or remove that, something like that, okay? So,
Ingress players complain about portals? No, it never happens.
Yeah. We did put some banana in one of the truck over there and take a pictures together as a cross-faction photo in front of the truck, something like that. So hopefully get approved faster that way.
Nice.
That's the ongoing joke that you put a banana in the portal photo, you will get approved faster. Basically, San Francisco, it's kind of fun because we have more tourists and we have a lot of convention that basically will be at Moscone Center or the Google I/O will have a surge of tourists and easily can be flipped about 5-6 times in that area for no reason. We do have a lot good cross-faction relationship between our counterpart. We do have cross-faction meetup occasionally. We just recently have a few Starburst, cross-faction Starburst together event. So I think it's a good time to play Ingress. Okay.
Cool. So it's pretty pervasive all around you. I think a lot of agents don't really realize how much time they spend playing Ingress. If you had to average out your time, how many hours would you say that you play every week?
15 to 20, something like that. Combine all the food event that we eat together, we drink together for a couple hours. My commute is slightly longer for the last 2 years, not because of the traffic, it's because of you had to do some cleanup work when you go home at night, okay? So I would say 10 to 20 hours on average. I don't have a right number, but sometimes I kind of too busy that I play less, but I'll make sure that I have my Sojourner hack per day for sure, and recharge my Guardian for sure.
You mentioned food. So with San Francisco being sort of like a heaven for foodies, people that like to eat, how social is truly the game out there, and how often do you actually, your meetups sort of revolve around food?
We do have roughly 1 to 2 times a week. Some of them are social, just drinking in a bar, and some of them involve, we go to a dinner and then we go to play together for a few hours and then drink again. So it's kind of like food, play, and drink again. That kind of model, something like that. So we do try different kind of food from Korean, Japanese, Chinese, American food. Uh, Basically, a lot of times bar food, and there are a lot of favorite restaurant that we had that we can easily hack 5 to 6 portals in the restaurant itself. So we can kind of basically item cap our inventory without getting out of the restaurant.
Well, now that everyone's mind is on food, we're probably going to start talking about what our favorite foods are in our chat room. If you want to join the conversation, head to our website at behindthescanner.com. Just head there and click chat up at the top. Okay, so Agent Shark Gundam, have you always been known by that name? And if not, why did you change it?
I used to be called Gundam XX123, and we do. When I changed my name to Shark Gundam back in August 20th, 2013, as a team, and basically about 10 to 15 agents, we all changed to Sharks at the same time. So a lot of agents, Shark Gundam, Zone of Shark, Shark Train, Shark minus E. We have a lot of agents in San Francisco who have the handle start with Sharks or end with Sharks either way. So that's my name.
That makes sense.
Okay.
It would have been weird to change it to Octopus Gundam. Yeah, that would have been strange. So.
Yeah. Our name is come from basically we in Hangout we're discussing all sort of Sharknado movies, those kind of thing, and then was like we decided why don't we change all our name to Sharks, and then we all applied on the same day, and we got approved on the same day, basically. So we apply for name change on the same day. After we do our name change, they change the rule. We cannot change the name again.
Oh.
Luckily
So
that we grandfathered.
All right, so let me ask you. Let me toss you a softball question here. This will be easy. What is your glyph hacking badge score?
I have 138 points ever out of more than 150k hacks. Okay, so basically I typically don't really glyph hack because when I enjoy just walking, instead of just slowing down and do the Candy Crush type game, something like that. The walking Candy Crush. I don't want to play that game. I actually enjoy talking to other people because there are many times that I go to a bell and I see a lot of people who are struggling about I must get the speed bonus. I must get the speed bonus. Okay, and they say, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Okay. I was like, okay, fine. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Okay, and after that I was like, no, I'm not doing glyph hacking. Okay, because it's like, what's the point of we go to a farm, we get together, we're so quiet, we don't talk to each other. I play the game as a social game instead of just focus on the item. Okay, I can always hack more. Okay, you can get item by hacking more. You don't need to be focused and not socialize with people, interact with people around you. That's why I don't glyph hack. At one reason, and second of all, I don't really like to do the Candy Crush, type mini game.
It's not for everyone. Well, being out in California, it's been the site of many anomalies. I've had a lot of fun heading out and visiting your neck of the woods. How many anomalies have you been to, and would you say you have one that's a favorite?
I go to 11 anomaly on the ground, plus countless that I lost track of running intel for other continents. I've helped Europe, Asia, and United States. Out of all the anomaly, I think it's the Oakland recursion anomaly that back in 2014. That was one of our first major victory in California that we were able to finally win an anomaly. We win by only a margin of 10 points, and it was so close. We were kind of like, we just had to get there, and we had to wait till the measurement form. We finally were able to win. and I myself personally do a lot of planning and also help organizing myself. I'm not the lead, but it was a hard-earned victory that I always remember. That victory that actually it's so sweet after we win that, just a small margin of 10 points. Okay, so that's one of my favorite. I go to the furthest, the most scariest one is I go to is the Flagstaff, Arizona. I totally did not know it snowed in Arizona, so I was go to Arizona with my summer clothes in California, and it was freezing. So I was shivering, holding my phone, and it's like Portal Combat, like that. It was shivering like that way. So that was we call the weather anomaly because the Oakland one that we win, we were actually playing using Ziploc bag because it's raining.
That's actually those work really well though.
Ziploc bag work really well. Okay, I heard Jim when he's doing his Toronto anomaly, basically a lot of their flow didn't survive the weather anomaly. Okay, luckily that I learned my lesson. Ziploc bag is the crucial. I think they're the unofficial sponsor for the Anomaly, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Niantic gets another sponsor, yeah, they should make just a common Ziploc shield. That'd be good. So let's talk about another aspect of Anomalies, the shards and the artifacts. Have you participated in those events as well?
I did too many times myself, and basically, let's see. A lot of them are really tough to, we lost a lot of sleep. I think last anomaly one time I was like 3 a.m. in the middle of night lighthouse floating a YOLO to block one of the artifacts to reaching to Big Project, Los Angeles. And by the time I get home, it's like 5 to 6 a.m. I totally become a zombie the next day.
So do you have any recommendations on how to change the shard and artifact game to draw more people into it?
I think they should either maybe A, increase more artifact, and B, minimize the score of the artifact, and maybe add more destination, or also limit the transportation, the movement of the shard to be just weekend only, so people have a break. They don't have to fly 24/7.
Yeah, it can get a little taxing. I mean, it's an interesting aspect of it. It feeds into the lore and the story quite well, if you know about that stuff. But so what about scoring anomalies in general? Do you have any thoughts on improvements that can be made for that?
I think that they should be same as I think the anomaly should be decided by the agents on the ground instead of the people who are just basically scoring some random in the middle of nowhere. The score should be, maybe the artifact can be a percentage to the overall score at the end of the anomaly, instead of just become a crucial, whoever score more artifact will win the anomaly. I think that a more I think that the artifact should be not so crucial for winning the anomaly, because we want to encourage more people to go to anomaly instead of just basically driving 2 hours to nowhere, cut the lane, to going from one military base to another non-accessible portal, so more people are able to participate and join it. Okay.
If you need to stop and answer a Hangout message or something, it's okay. We can do that. I saw you looking over at the other screen. This is your show, man. It's okay.
I know. I have some outside because you can't handle two things at the same time.
It's all good.
Dude, he's trying to recharge his Guardian. Like, let him do it.
My Guardian should be pretty safe for now. Okay, should be okay. And I'm so used to dying after like barely 90s. I still don't have my 150 days yet. Okay, I'm fine with that. Okay, I've been hunted more than like 20 times already. I'm kind of used to it. When the time comes for my Guardian to go die, I let go. Okay, I have my peace with my guardian. Okay.
Well, for everyone watching at home, after you're done recharging your Guardian, remember you can submit questions for our guest. If you're watching via YouTube, you have to click the banner at the top, or I'm sorry, at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation," and then from there, click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A. So, okay, that kind of more of like a different topic. You said that you've been in Intel. You've done Intel for an operation during an extreme situation. Can you tell us more about what happened?
I think it's one of the Guangzhou, China anomaly. I was actually the most funny thing is I was in Pasadena anomaly in the hotel room. Was actually running in the hotel room because the next day I will do the ground battle myself. But at nighttime I was running Intel for that in China. And during the anomaly time, the Intel map was completely down. So I had nothing to look at. And we able to throw a 300 million MU field without the use of Intel at the, well, of course we already know what kind of, blocker we had to cut, but we're able to make the field without actually so we kind of make the field, but we don't know what it looked like because the internet was down. Okay, so we able to find out the field by analytics because they're able to see it themselves. Because based on what I heard, they have 6,000 agents in in Japan at the same time. So the server cannot handle it. They have to shut down the Intel map just for us to keep playing. It was really gut-wrenching, okay, that time, okay, because it's like, what I'm gonna do? I'm running Intel, but there's no Intel. None of us are able to see anything. We just kind of keep going, keep playing until I just hope when this anomaly is over, okay, and then I can play the next day on the ground. So that
was a fun anomaly. It was hot though in Pasadena.
Yeah, definitely was.
Really hot.
No, it's not that hard, okay? Compared to other people who go to Phoenix, those got triple digit. Pasadena is okay, okay.
Kelly's from Chicago though. It doesn't get like that in.
Well, yeah.
I'm from Northern California, so I'm not really. It's not that bad, okay? Compared to Arizona, triple digit anomaly. I've seen that, okay? I'm not complaining. Pasadena is nice. This is Southern California, okay? Come on, it's beach, Santa Monica, those kind of things. You can't complain.
It was sunny. It was sunny. So, all right, let's move on to another sunny topic. How about some viewer questions? Ready to wade into the deep end and see if we can swim? I'll take the silences. Okay. So, the first question is from Velvet Siren. I'm not sure if this is an inside joke or not, but she wants to know, how many languages do you speak? Can you say, "get in the van" in Cantonese?
I speak Cantonese, and I can able to listen to Mandarin and speak English. Okay, my Spanish learned in high school is basically have no memory at all. I just know me no español. Okay, hola, cómo está? That's all I know. Okay, get in the van. 擺上架車. Okay, I don't know because get in the van is one of our local joke that it's kind of like get in the van and then we're going to drive past the whole town and build the whole area. Right? That's why he always come up with that joke. Okay, get in the van.
The only thing I remember from my Spanish in high school was "Comedor dos cervezas, por favor." I have no idea how I learned that in high school, but I can order apparently 2 beers. So it's a life skill. All right, let's see here. We have lots of questions coming from the chat room. Malachi, who was our guest last week, wants to know, which one to pick. How about this one? If you could only have one flavor of bubble tea for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Sorry, what's the question? Sorry.
That's okay. If you could only have one flavor of bubble tea for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I just go with the just the regular bubble tea, that black tea. That's a
Regular
weird
black
one.
bubble tea.
Yeah.
It's what they want to know. All right, so Blades Edge NZ wants to know, you have to dress up for an anomaly. What are you going to dress? What are you going to dress up in? All right, so if you're going to an anomaly and he's telling you have to dress up, what are you going to wear to an anomaly?
Well, I typically wear my Anomaly t-shirts myself, and I typically I bring the flag of Resist SF flag to the Anomaly. Okay, so I typically it's already dressed up already that way. That's how I typically dress up to Anomaly. I think if you saw some of my G Plus pictures, you probably see me holding the flag, wearing the Ingress t-shirt that way. That's how I go to Anomaly. But if you want to, well, I don't want to wear like a Smurf, those kind of things. That's kind of like I saw some paint the dog as green completely because in Poland I was like poor dog. Okay, don't do something too extreme. Okay, especially when you do go rock, don't do anything too heavy or too hard, that kind of thing.
That's good advice, actually. Yeah, especially if you're going to exert yourself like that. All right.
Yeah, because you can be there for 4 or 5 hours, and plus the
Very
after
true.
party, that's 5 or 6 hours. Okay, that's a long day.
All right. So
Normally, nothing.
the next question is from Mr. Sean Parday, who's Agent Thorn. He wants, and he actually asked this in our chat room to all of us. So before you give your answer, I'd like to address it and throw some stuff in there too. So he wants to know if we share our opinion concerning car gressing. Specifically, is it against the TOS to Ingress to be behind the wheel while playing Ingress? And the reason why I want to answer that is because I live 5 minutes from Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has a law that says everything you do has to be completely hands-free. Virginia has a law that states you cannot text, but you can physically hold your phone and have a conversation or do just about anything else with it. That doesn't eliminate distracted driving and driving illegally and erratically. But if you're driving, not breaking the law, Virginia allows you to do that. California, where Johnny's from, it's a little bit more interesting. So they have the do not text law. And I think both states actually, if you're under 18, you can't even touch your phone. The Fifth Court of Appeals, I believe, last year in 2014, actually stated that you cannot use your phone for placing a phone call, but you can use your phone for GPS apps. Now, they didn't specifically say a navigation app, and they didn't. There was a caveat to that. They didn't say anything else. They didn't limit it, basically. The only thing that they clarified was that you cannot use your phone holding it while placing a phone call, was specifically what they called out. The text law is still there. I think that was enacted in 2009. But this Fifth Court of Appeals overturned somebody's fine that he got while operating his GPS. So there's a legal side of it. You got to know what the law is in your area. It also doesn't excuse erratic or dangerous driving. But there's also really no way to tell that somebody is behind the wheel or they're a passenger either, unless you pull up next to them and then take a picture of them and send that picture to Niantic, which, by the way, is also against the TOS. You're not supposed to identify people outside of the game, even if they reveal themselves to you. That's in there. So is it against the TOS to car gress? It depends on where you live, and it depends on if you're able to do it. I can do it in Virginia, and as long as I'm driving legally and I'm not swerving like I'm drunk, it's completely legal for me to do it. So catch up, make sure that you understand what the laws are in your area. Don't be so quick to throw somebody under the bus because you happen to think that they're in a vehicle as well. They could be a passenger. There could be 8 other people in there. Maybe it's a self-driving car. I hear that there's a company out in California who's actually developing those too. But it's a bit of a gray area because it's like trespassing. If I pull into a parking lot to turn my car around, is that technically trespassing? In the legal sense, yes, but you'll never, ever, 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 ever get a ticket for that unless you're stopping there, getting out, tagging a building or anything like that. So as long as you're not doing anything dangerous and it's legal for you to do it in your municipality, then I think that's pretty much where the argument ends. But, Johnny, I want to get your take on that.
Myself, it's kind of, I don't see any word on ton of surface about car gressing, and it could be a tough subject depending on what their viewpoint is. I'm not going to change other people's view about car gressing, but just a lot of people, you have to understand that not a lot of places like in San Francisco you can get everywhere by public transportation. You really need to drive long distance to go certain places to play this game. Okay, we in San Francisco do have the luxury that we have way too many portals within walking distance, but the practical of not drive and go to certain places is kind of nonsense. Okay, so it's also basically I recommend people do it drive in a safe manner, something like that. The game is just a game. Safety first. That's my take first. Okay.
Absolutely, and that's really important. If somebody is clearly driving erratically, whether they're playing the game or not, they're crossing lanes of traffic, or in something I witnessed, there was actually a player that drove down a one-way street the wrong way in order to follow a group of people that were the opposite faction. That is dangerous. That needs to get reported. But if they're abiding by all traffic laws and your law states that you can use the device, or then they're fine. But again, unless you're next to that person, there's no way to know whether they're a passenger or not. So it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to just sort of judge it by intel actions or something else. I don't know. It's one of those things that's really hard to prove too. So anyway, all right, let's move on to another topic. How about, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's or woman's name, Zones. They enjoyed their last visit to San Francisco. Thank you for the hospitality and guiding me to visit many more Ingress lore portals. I guess it was more of a statement than a question, so I guess you know the person. All right, so how about this question? Accidental GMR wants to know about your McDonald's obsession. He says, tell us about your McDonald's obsession.
I typically a lot of time use McDonald's as a point for meetup for other group. A, it's easy to find parking over there because there's always parking over there. B, it's like, okay, people don't get lost, that's all. Myself, sometimes because I always traveling for work, so a lot of time my lunch is it's not the most healthiest choice, okay? So McDonald's is always, a lot of times, my food of choice because when I had to go to work, now I have 5 minutes, a drive-through is my best thing that I can have in a short period of time. That's all. The reason I use it for bail, for meet people, because I have enough agents that basically you told them to go to, let's go to this portal to meet up. A lot of them will get lost. But if they told them there's a McDonald's right there, they won't miss it. That's the whole reason I do that all the time.
Yeah, convenience. I mean,
they can recognize the golden address. They can recognize that.
Yep.
That's all.
All right. I think that's about it. There's a couple more in the chat if you want to answer it later, but let's move on.
Cool. Well, we've reached that magical time of the show where we allow our guests to talk for 60 seconds about anything they want. So, Johnny, whenever you're ready, go ahead and start.
Basically, I'm kind of really happy on the show today, and I really enjoy that a lot of people have a really good discussion today. There are a lot of good questions, and I'm really excited for next Anomaly season that's coming up in October. Hopefully there one Anomaly not too far, from my home, that I don't have to do this kind of travel. This year I already traveled to Portland, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas for Anomaly already. Okay, I think that my Ingress travel budget already used up at this point already. So hopefully that I don't over budget too many. And is my 60 seconds up yet, or?
You got like
Okay.
30 more seconds.
Yep.
I'm not really prepared for 60-minute free speech, something like that. Hopefully this time that this Anomaly season coming up, I hope that we could have a not bad controlled Anomaly, so it wasn't, some people 5,000 kilometers away will decided who's going to win this Anomaly season. Some reasonable score. Agent on the ground will have more fun. Everybody travel safe. Everybody able to get the coke and the swag. Everybody just having fun. Okay, I'm so excited that after the whole, I think we have 3 months since the last Anomaly in Portland and other places. I think that NIA finally separate from Google, and hopefully some good change, that we could have some fun.
Nice. A lot of hope for the future in that 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was really neat to get to know you and hear a little bit more about you. And everyone, thank you for watching tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Happy hacking.
Happy hacking.
So we had a question about what is bubble tea?
You know what bubble tea is?
Oh, no, I know what bubble tea is.
Oh.
It's
It's
delicious.
just amazing.
Yeah, well, the bubbles it's tapioca, so the bubbles add no flavor, but it's just like
It's the
floaty.
texture.
Yeah. It's
The way it-
gelatin balls.
So good.
It's tea.
It's
It's tea with unflavored gelatin balls. So the gelatin balls take on the flavor of the tea.
yeah. It has sugar. What else do you need?